truth, the Bua, the Hongzin, the keep away, Kalim away.
Namaskaram and good afternoon to everyone. Well, why this Youth and Truth? How did it come about? Well, in the last 36 years that I've been active with people, it's been a constant refrain like this. Thousands of people asking me this question. Sadhguru, when I was 20, where were you? You came when I'm 60. What is the point? These sort of questions have been a continuous thing that I'm hearing. So we thought we will step out and meet all those people who are below 25 in this country. So this will… right now, as a part of this, in this month, we are doing 18 universities. You are number 16 right now. But we will continue this process for another 3 years. One thing is to speak to the youth. Another thing is to create a repository of questions and sensible answers for that, so that the next generation that comes, at least they will invent a new problem. Because every generation is asking the same dumb questions, but it's not getting resolved. See, if we had one kind of problem, the next generation should at least have a new problem, isn't it? If they have the same problem as I had as a youth, this means we are not evolving into anything better, isn't it? So whatever problems they have now, at least they must come up with a new problem, the next generation. They shouldn't be asking the same stuff. So we will create a repository and make it available for always, for all youth across the world. So this process will continue for 3 years to get every kind of questions that an young person can ask, and we will put out these answers, make it available both online and in the form of a book, so that anywhere in the world, youth, when they have these questions, they have a sensible solution for this. Another dimension of this is little things, small things, keep people busy for their entire life. In the sense, most human beings are just struggling with their own thought and emotion for their entire life. Our ability to think and our ability to emote are two most beautiful aspects of being human. But these two wonderful things that we have, most human beings suffer immensely. If your thought and emotion happened just the way you want it, would you ever be miserable, I'm asking? Hello? No. You would make yourself blissful, isn't it? So essentially, most people do not know how to handle their own thought and emotion, and this just goes on for an entire life. 50, 60 years of age, still don't know how to handle your thought. When are you going to learn, I'm asking? When is it that it's going to happen, that you will know how to conduct your body, how to conduct your thought process, how to conduct your emotion? It should happen at the earliest part of our life, isn't it so? Is this usually a nap time in the university? Huh? Should we… how to use this body, how to use this mind, how to use these emotions and energy, should we learn at the earliest part of our life or towards the end of our life? So, it amazes me how for most human beings life passes without they ever figuring out how to handle their thought and emotion even towards the end of their life. Well, if you have to produce a great society, if you have to produce a great nation, if you have to live in a great world, there is no such thing as creating a great society or a nation or a world. Actually, we can only create great human beings. There's simply nothing else we can do. When we say great human beings, in some way, their genius unfolded in their life and suddenly they stood out among many other people. Right now, in my estimate, if my percentages are wrong for Shillong, you must tell me, but generally in the world, looking at people, I think not even 1% of humanity manages to unfold or blossom their genius within them. Every human being has a certain genius, but unless it finds an internal and an external ambience, it will not unfold. Just the concerns of livelihood, concerns of sexuality, relationships, family, some problems, they keep them busy, their genius will never unfold. In my estimate, I'm thinking it's well below 1%. If we can make this 10% in this generation, if 10% of the humanity manage to unfold their genius, oh, we will have a miraculous world, not a simple world. We will have a tremendously miraculous world. So, one thing that's happened, why we are more competent to do that right now is, never before our survival has been as well organized as it is today. Suppose you were in Shillong 1,000 years ago, morning, if you want water, go to the river, get one bucket of water. Most people today are not even fit to carry a bucket of water for a mile. Yes or no? I mean, just survival kept us so busy. All these thousands of years, just the simple survival of getting water, food, shelter has kept us full on. This is the first time, if you have the needed money, you can go to your shop and buy everything that you want for the next 1 month and not step out of your house. It's possible, isn't it? Food and shelter and other things are better organized than ever before in the history of humanity. I think this is the best time to make an attempt to really help human beings to unleash their genius. And if we do that in this generation, we can become the greatest generation ever on this planet. The possibility is there. Do we have the commitment and the courage to walk the distance? Because between a possibility and reality, there's a distance. Do you have the commitment and courage to walk the distance? This is all it takes. So we are seeing how we can take youth in this direction, because every human being has untapped genius, which comes in a package and goes in the same package without ever being explored. We don't want to bury your genius one day, we want it to flourish in the world. This is why we are here. On to you.
Hello. A very good afternoon, everyone. Namaskaram, Sadhguru. At the very onset, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to you, Sadhguru, for sharing this wonderful day with us. It is indeed a blessing to us to have you here. Let me start introducing ourselves to you. We have Riya, student from Commerce Department. We have Abhijit, student from Engineering Department. And myself, Sunita, student from Botany Department. Sadhguru, you have just landed to Shillong. I'm sure you must have enjoyed your journey. How do you like Shillong?
Well, it looks like a beautiful place, but I haven't seen much of it.
Indeed, Shillong is a beautiful city, but I must say that the beauty of this place has enhanced much more with your presence here.
I second that, Sunita. No. It is indeed true. The air itself has changed. It looks more charismatic. Thank you so much for being here with us, Sadhguru. NEHU has been brimming with questions. We received so many questions that it was so difficult for us to come to a few. We've chosen a few, or we've compiled some of the questions asked by you. We will be discussing those questions, Sadhguru, but before that, I would like to brief the audience about today's schedule. So we will be discussing the questions, as I said, asked by you, and then we'll have some questions that we received from social media. from those who have not been able to make it here today. And then we'll leave the floor open to the audience. So if you have any questions, you might as well get them ready. Without further ado, I would request my friend Abhijit to begin with the question. Abhijit.
Namaskaram, Sadhguruji. The first question that I want to ask is actually related to me. I'm in the last year of engineering. So now there is a very big decision that I have to make now. And people have told me that if I take decisions from my heart, I'll be successful in life. So, but there lies a problem. The problem is that I don't know which thought is coming from my heart and which thought is coming from my brain. So how can I figure out like which thought is from my heart and which is coming from my brain?
The heart makes only two sounds, lub-dub. Unless the local girls are disturbing it and it's going a little crazy. Otherwise, it makes only two sounds. Rest of the noise is all coming from your head. This idea that something comes from the heart, something comes from the brain, it's metaphoric, but unfortunately a whole lot of people are taking it literally. There was a time in many parts of the world, particularly in Arabia, the medical science in Arabia believed the blood is pumped from the liver. You might have heard Urdu sayings about Kalija, have you? Because they believed blood is being pumped from the liver, because liver is a far more complicated organ than the heart. Heart is a simple pump. So do not give it any more responsibilities other than continuously pumping the blood and keeping you alive. Unless somebody here breaks it. So, about the last year of engineering, I want you to change that language because this happened. Can I tell you a joke? It's okay?
Yeah.
You're pretty serious about this, that's why I'm asking. This happened. A very celebrated scientist was at a dinner and he was not grandly dressed or anything, he was looking very ordinary. So the lady who was, sitting next to him, didn't pay much attention to him, she doesn't know who he is. But after some time, just to be polite, to make some conversation, "May I know what do you do?" He said, "I'm studying science." She said, "Oh, I finished that in my 10th class." So you're not going to, you're not in the last year of engineering, maybe the course, but not the last year of engineering, because for your entire life, if you learn engineering, when you're dying, after 100 years, okay? I'm not preponing it. After 100 years when you're dying, you would still know, if you are a constant learning process, you would still know you know very little about engineering. With that little, many things happen, that's different. So don't be in the last year of engineering. I know the program may be closing, but not the last year of engineering, okay? So, essentially engineering means to have things the way we want. Yes? When we say this building is well engineered, I'm not saying that. If we say this building is well engineered or an automobile is well engineered, what it means is it's functioning the way we want. Yes? Of all the pieces of engineering on this planet, of many pieces of engineering, a tree is a fantastic engineering, even a mountain is fantastic engineering because it stood there for 1,000,000 years, that means it must be good engineering, isn't it? Yes? Something that stands there for 1,000,000 years must be well engineered. Of all this, the most sophisticated piece of engineering is human mechanism. Isn't it so? Hello? Most sophisticated of all the pieces of engineering. Now, because it's a sophisticated piece of engineering, it needs a certain level of attention, otherwise you don't figure it. Now that we gave you such a highly, high-tech piece of engineering, I'm asking you, did you read the user's manual?
I think there is no user manual for now.
How can they make such a fantastic piece of engineering without a user's manual? Maybe it doesn't come with a booklet attached to your neck when you were born. But indications must be there, isn't it, how to use it? Huh? Is it true somebody who's an athlete or a gymnast or someone else like that learns to use their body than a whole lot of other people? Yes? Obviously, at least one aspect of the physical engineering of the body, they seem to have read the user's manual about the physical aspects. Is it true certain people are able to use their mind better than others? Maybe they read another part of the user's manual. So, now with this heart manual and the brain manual, see, the problem is most people are prejudiced against the brain. This is a question that always comes to me, Sadhguru, I want to meditate but thoughts are coming. The common question everywhere. I ask them, see, I'll make you meditate. We will stop the liver, we'll stop the kidney, we'll stop the heart, we'll stop everything, okay? Oh, no, Sadhguru. So you want the liver to function when you're meditating. You want the kidneys to function. You want even the spleen to function, you want the heart to function. But you don't want your brain to function for some reason. This is simply because brain is a new equipment that you got in the evolutionary process. This level of cerebral development happened more recently compared to the other systems. If you cut open any mammal, they all have all these parts, isn't it? Every part that you have here, all of them have. Even if you open a frog, most of you, your biology department. Even if you open a frog, almost everything that you have, he also has, isn't it? It is only… the big difference is only the cerebral development, which is a more recent happening. Because it's a more recent happening, most people have not figured how to handle it. So, user's manual is very important. You don't read a user's manual just before you discard the machine. You read it in the first few days, isn't it? Hello? If you buy a phone, do you want to read the user's manual in the first 3 days or after 3 years when you're throwing it away? First 3 days, isn't it? So, knowing how this functions is very important. Never did ever heart generate any thought or intention. Well, when you looked at the young girl, heart beat more, that doesn't mean it's saying anything, it's just trying to compensate for the other levels of excitement that's happening. The heart is not trying to say anything, it is only compensating, you need more blood, so it's pumping little harder. That'll happen even if you run up the staircase. Yes? What happens to you little panting when you fall in love also happens physiologically when you run up a staircase, yes or no? Fear also does that to a whole lot of people. So, heart is not trying to say anything, it is just trying to make sure every part of the body gets the nourishment of blood flow. So, it's your brain speaking in different tongues. What's your native language? What's your mother tongue?
Assamese.
So, Because when you know 2, 3 languages, sometimes it gets confused, sometimes it speaks in English, sometimes in Assamese, sometimes in something else. So you're thinking different people are speaking, heart is speaking, mind is speaking, no. There is thought and there is emotion. People think these two things are saying different things. They're not saying different things. The way you think is the way you emote, isn't it so? Right now, if I think, oh, she's the most wonderful person on the planet, I just have to think. Then my emotions become sweet towards her. Now I think she's the most horrible creature on the planet. Now my emotions become nasty. Yes or no? I cannot think she's horrible and have sweet emotions. I cannot think she's wonderful and have nasty emotions, isn't it so? But today, I thought she's the most wonderful person and my sweetness was flowing. Suddenly she did something tomorrow that I don't like. I think she's horrible. Thought is agile, it changes direction just like that. Emotion is little sappy. It takes time to turn around. So that period, you struggle as if there are 2 dimensions of thing happening. Because thought is saying one thing, emotion is still going sweet, because it takes time to become nasty. Everybody struggles, but it catches up or no after some time? Hello? Today you thought she's wonderful, sweetness was flowing, tomorrow she did something you don't like, you thought she's horrible. The thought is clearly saying she's horrible, but emotions are struggling because they can't turn quickly. They take time to turn. But after a week or 10 days or 2 months, depending on how deeply you're engaged, after some time, emotion catches up with the thought. Emotion also says, yes, she's horrible, so let's be nasty to her. So, they're not speaking different languages. One is agile, another is little slow in its corners. So, it looks like they're speaking different languages. When it comes to what you want to do, you must think clearly, it's very important. Thinking clearly means, the question is not about what will get me this, what will get me that. Is your life precious to you? All of you, I'm asking. Your life, is it precious to you? So before you invest this life into something, you must look whether today if I invest my life into this, after 25 years, will it still mean a lot to me? After 50 years, will it still mean a lot to me? At the end of my life, if I turn back and I look, will I be proud of this or will I be ashamed of what I'm doing right now? Doesn't matter what other people say. But you should not do anything that you will feel ashamed of, isn't it so? Huh? It doesn't matter, people say so many things. Everybody has an opinion, it's their business. But you don't do something that you will feel ashamed of, isn't it? Then you're turning against yourself. Somebody turns against you, you can leave them and go somewhere else. If you turn against yourself, you'll have to live with it forever. So, this is all you have to look at it. Something will get you money, something will get you comfort, that's not the point. What you choose to do, will it give you a life? When I say give you a life, are you just trying to make a living or are you trying to make a life out of this? This is important. Making a living is not an issue. A worm, an insect, a bird, an animal, all of them are making their life, making a living, isn't it so? They're even making a life out of it, but definitely they're making a living. So making a living with such a big brain is not an issue. Earning your food is not an issue, making a living is not an issue. Only problem is you want to live like somebody else, that's an endless problem. I want to live is not a problem. I want to live like you, this is a problem. So, it is important, if you consider your life as a precious life, you must make sure you make a wonderful life out of this. Whatever opens up in that direction, that is the thing you should do. But when you're under the pressure of peers, somebody is saying, I'm going to America, somebody says, I'm going to the government job, somebody says, I'm doing this. So one thing that all of you should do before you make big decisions in your life is withdraw from these pressures of peers, professors, parents, everybody. Just spend 3 days to 1 week by yourself. Look at it, what is it that you really want to do? Not under pressure from other people. What does this life want to do? Do that. It doesn't matter what other people think about it.
Thank you, Sadhguru. Sadhguru, this is another question I have. You have mentioned on a number of occasions that we cannot ignore the materialistic body that we have been given and that we have to live with it. But how do we find a balance between the materialistic world and the spiritual world? Where exactly do we draw the line, Sadhguru?
See, first of all, there is no imbalance. The imbalances come simply because of ridiculous teachings. First of all, there is no such thing as material and spiritual. Even if you're spiritual, you're walking on this planet, isn't it so? Is that material? Or will you go in space? Is this material? So, how do you separate these two things? These sort of teachings and these kind of sayings, these kind of confusions have been generated by people who are not spiritual in their experience. They're spiritual because it is what to say, it's a cultural fad. Somebody read something and they think they're spiritual. You're reading something, you're reading a book, it's called literacy, not spirituality, isn't it? Oh, I read this book, so I've become spiritual, there's no such thing. All I'm asking is, let us take off this word because it's the most corrupted word. If you say spirituality, somebody's thinking of heaven, somebody's thinking of God, somebody's thinking of an egg-shaped something floating. Leave that word. You have a body, for sure, it's visible. You have mind, yes? You have emotions. But there is also life energy behind this, isn't it? There's a life. Are you alive? It's a question. You are alive. So let's not give it any other name. There is life. All physical material that you gathered from outside, isn't it so? This is just the food that you've eaten. Yes or no? What you call as my body is just a food that you've eaten, or it's just a piece of the planet. What was soil became food, what was food became flesh and bone. Now we're sitting here. We gathered this body over a period of time. You were not born like this. You gathered it slowly, piece by piece, isn't it? Little by little. Similarly, whatever is in the content of your mind, whatever the content of your mind, also you gathered from outside, isn't it so? So this is a heap of food, this is a heap of impressions. Anything that you gather, anything that you ever gather, you can claim it is yours. But you can never say it is me, isn't it so? Hello? Right now, as I'm speaking, I'll take this vessel. It's become very famous, this vessel. This is my vessel. If I say this is my vessel, you will think, oh, Sadhguru's got some problem. But let's listen, everybody says he's wise. After some time, I say, this is me. Then you say, let's go home. I did not say it, ma'am. I was only suggesting, I was not saying. Because the moment I say this is me, you know this is a nutcase. Yes or no? The moment I say I am the vessel, you know this is a lost case, isn't it so? So, this is happening to you every day. Food appears on your plate, you say, this is my food. You eat it, then you say, this is me. Case or no? Hello? You have a psychiatry department also in the university? No, no medicine. VC is saying it'll come soon. So, definitely you understand What you gather can be yours at the most, but never ever can be you, isn't it so? Is this understood? So everything that's material about you is gathered from outside, isn't it? But to gather all this, there must be something fundamental which gathers all this. Let's not give it a name, we'll just call it life for now. You are a life, but you gathered a body, you gathered information and became like this. Now, if you're only experiencing what you have gathered, that is your physiology and your psychological structure, that means you're going through life process without touching life ever, just the surface aspects that you gathered. You are only experiencing the accessories of life. See, today when people use the word life, you have to sift through that because they may be talking about their job, they may be talking about their family, they may be talking about their dog, they may be talking about their wealth or business. When they say my life, you are supposed to understand what the hell they're talking about. They're not talking about life. Yes, they're talking about many things. Accessories. Accessories don't make the real thing, isn't it? This is like, for the sake of aesthetics, if you have a skirt, you will add frill to it. Now, many times it's happened in societies, it's happened to many people, they went on adding frills. Frills became so much of their attention, they forgot to wear the skirt. That's an embarrassing way to live, isn't it? That's all that's happening to humanity right now. They gathered so many things, now they've forgotten what is the basis. Only to facilitate this life to happen better, we gathered all these things, isn't it? Yes or no? Everything that we gathered, including our education, you're educating yourself because you believe, if I'm well educated, my life will be good. You will get married, why? Because you think if I'm with somebody that I like, my life will be good. You have children, why? Because somebody convinces you if you have children, life will get better. You have a dog, why? Because you understand if you have a dog, maybe life will be better. When nobody else is reliable, dog will be there. Yes. It's not only man's best friend, it's a woman's best friend also these days. So, we gathered all these things only to enhance this life, but this has been totally forgotten. So if this comes into your attention, then we use this most corrupt word called spirituality. That means you started experiencing something more than the physical. Why I'm saying this is, right now your entire experience of life is limited to seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting and touching. This is the way you know there is a world, this is the way you know that you are existing right now. If you just doze a little bit, first thing is I will disappear, in your experience, yes or no? A little more means everybody will disappear. Then you also disappear, isn't it? Yes or no? See, you're alive, heart is beating, even brain is functioning, everything is functioning, but in your experience there is no you, there is no world, there is nobody, isn't it? All that's happened is the five sense organs shut down, that's all. So right now your whole experience of life is only through these five senses. So these five senses in the very nature of things can only experience that which is physical. See, you can see only those things which actually stop light, they must be opaque, not only physical, even the air is physical, but you don't see it. Simply because only if it's opaque, if it stops light, only then you see this. Suppose my hand doesn't stop light, you don't see it, isn't it? Do you see my other two hands? No, because they don't stop light. Anything that does not stop light, you don't see. But isn't air vital to your life? Hello? Just because you don't see it, can we dismiss it? Is it very important? Vital. Similarly, the life that you are is not visible to those two eyes, but it is the most vital thing, isn't it? So, there is no need to balance. They're all perfectly balanced, that's why you're alive. Spiritual process does not mean you are going to invent something. Always, spirituality was referred to as realization. Realization means what? Something that has always been there and I was stupid enough not to see it. Today I saw it. I did not invent anything, I did not create anything. Something that was always there, I saw today. Though it is all the time here, I did not see it, only today I saw. This is realization. This is not an attainment, this is not an acquisition, this is not something else. This is just realization. So, realization does not change any dynamics of life. It's just the way it is. But because you realized, suddenly you're empowered. Just because we realized the planet is round at one time, it has empowered us in so many ways, isn't it so? If we thought it's flat, which as we did some time ago, no, but we just realized we didn't make it round. It was always round, but we thought it's flat. But one day we realized it's round, how it's changed our life, isn't it? Similarly, spiritual process means just this, you're not doing anything. You just started seeing everything the way it is, rather than imagining it some another way. And seeing things the way they are is the biggest empowerment you can have, isn't it? In your life, whether you want to engineer or you want to run commerce or you want to do biology, first and foremost thing is, you see it the way it is, isn't it? If you don't see it the way it is, everything that you do will be wrong, not one thing. Everything that you do will be wrong. Suppose we thought the earth is flat and made 1,000 calculations about this planet. Everything, not one thing, everything will be wrong, isn't it so? So without realization, not one thing, everything is wrong with life.
Thank you, Sadhguru.
Sadhguru, I'm so lost in your words that I don't want to ask any question. I just want to listen to you, but this is a part of my job.
That is why… no, that is why you ask a question.
And this is a part of my job too. I'm put here to ask question to you, so I'll put up an intense question to you now. Sadhguru, in context to space and food, should human race, especially in India, now stop reproducing and start adopting children instead?
But to adopt, somebody must be reproducing, right? You mean to say…
But there are…
you mean to say robotic…
No, Sadhguru. I think there are many children in the street that need parents and home. So why don't we bring them to our home rather than reproducing by our own? Why don't we parent them? But in the process of doing so, are we losing the very essence of motherhood? And what is the meaning of motherhood according to Sadhguru? That is my question.
See, suppose your mother delivered you and did not show any sense of inclusion, she just left you there. Is it possible that she could become your worst enemy? Yes or no? Very much, isn't it?
Yes.
So your mother is your mother, not because she biologically delivered you. Your mother is your mother because in various ways she showed you that she is holding you as a part of herself.
Yes.
Just biological delivery did not make her mother. Biologically, yes, because you are from the biology department. But in your experience, she is your mother only because of the level of inclusiveness that she has displayed in her life, isn't it? If she excluded you, she will become your worst enemy, isn't it?
Yes.
So for this inclusiveness, for you to include somebody, all it takes is willingness. Yes? All it takes is willingness, not biological capacity to get pregnant and deliver. All it takes is willingness. Right now, if you are willing, can you Just look at these people and really see them as your own children. Possible? Possible or no? Maybe you have some issues with some of them, that's okay. I'm leaving those two people. She's just identifying, oh, but these two.
I'm trying to figure out whom do I know in the audience. I'm trying to figure
You don't
out
have
my
to know
friends.
anybody. You don't know anybody. But can you sit here like a mother to all of them? If you're willing. Because it's only a question of willingness, isn't it? So the problem is just this, for most people their willingness is coming in installments. I will accept you, but I can't stand this guy. I can't stand this guy, but I hate this person. Like this. Now he has to do many things to me for me to accept him slowly. But if you really look at it, the nature of human beings is such. Take the example of somebody who's closest to you in your life. Sincerely, don't tell me anything. Sincerely, you look into it and see how many layers of resistance you have for that person who is dearest to you in your life. Yes or no? Many layers of resistance. Because of that, we have become like this. Unless something falls out of my body, it is not mine. Even what comes out of your own body is not yours. Children will make you realize as you grow old. Enlightenment from the next generation. Because biology will bind you only to a certain point. Beyond that, there is human intelligence and emotion and consciousness. If there is no inclusiveness, you will not feel like one. You may be biologically connected, but you may hate each other intensely. Possible, isn't it? But people will fall back on biology because for them, only their blood is functioning, their brain is yet to function. For most human beings, their blood is functioning, genetics are there, stuff is there, but their brain is yet to function. As I told you, it's new, they've not learned how to use it. Generally, they're using it against themselves. They call this stress, they call this anxiety, they call this depression, misery, whatever. Essentially, your intelligence has turned against you, that's all, isn't it so? Hello? You can give it many names. When the psychiatry department comes, they will give you many labels. They have identified some 72 or 74 varieties of mental ailments now. So they'll give you one of those titles. But essentially, your intelligence is turned against you. So, can I tell you a joke? Okay. Because you said it's a very intense and serious question. The biggest problem with human life is, we have taken ourselves too seriously. This is the biggest problem. See, on this planet, you're just a pop-up. Have you seen those pop-ups on the computer screen? They come poop and poop. You are just that on this planet. In the life of this planet, you're just a pop-up for 2 seconds and out. Countless number of people who thought they were bigger and smarter than you have been here before you and me, isn't it? Where are they? All topsoil? Yes or no? This one also will become topsoil after some time, unless your friends choose to bury you real deep, fearing you may raise from the dead. You know, there have been such… This happened. There was a couple in Texas, United States. They were over 75 years of age. It was their life's dream to go to the Holy Land, Jerusalem. But you know, marriage, children growing up, university, marriage and grandchildren, da-da-da. Once you start one thing, it's an avalanche, you know. Many things will happen. Now they're over 75, now they got an opportunity, so they went to Jerusalem. Jerusalem is a place where every cobblestone is bleeding with history. So they walked that street where Jesus is supposed to have walked, felt overwhelmed. Went to that place where Jesus is supposed to have walked upon the water. Like this, they went all over the place. Very excited. Unfortunately, the lady had a heart attack and she died. So the man was preparing to take the body back to Texas. But then the local people came. They said, "This is the Holy Land. This is the right place to die. Your wife has done the right thing. There is no point taking this body to Texas, and taking the body to Texas, the flight charges are $18,000 plus local charges out there for rituals and stuff. Here, because you have lost your wife and you come for America, just $20,000 will finish everything." The man looked at them and then he said, "No, I will take her back to Texas." Then they said, "Okay, it's all right, because you're from Texas, we'll give you a super discount. $12,000, let's do it. This is the place, the Holy Land." The man thought about it and then he said, "No, I'm taking her back to Texas." Then they said, "See, you lost your wife of 45 years. You're not thinking straight. You're distressed. Don't do this. This is the place to die, right place. Because you're distressed, we'll give you super discount. We'll make it $8,000. Let's do it now, come on, come on." The man thought about it and said, "No, I'm taking her back to Texas." They said, "Why? What's the point?" He said, "In Texas, dead stay dead." You're not getting it, not getting it. So, our biological connections are important, I'm not saying no. But we have overly exaggerated this. This I'm calling as Dhritarashtra syndrome. Dhritarashtra, at any cost my son, he's a bloody idiot, it doesn't matter, at any cost my son. Unfortunately, after 5,000–6,000 years, it's still going on. I get down in Chennai, if you get down at the Chennai airport, first neon sign advertisement is a fertility clinic. I say, my God, in India you need a fertility clinic? What you need is an infertility bomb. I'm not propounding any kind of philosophy or ideology for you. See, in 1947, when we got our independence for this country, the average life expectancy of an average Indian was 28 years. 28. Since then, today the average life expectancy is around 66 or 67, which is a phenomenal achievement for the nation. When we postpone our death, should we not postpone our birth? I'm not talking any philosophy, any ideology or any kind of religion. I'm talking simple arithmetic. You postponed your death, should you not postpone the birth? Hello? So right now, it is not that too much reproduction is happening. Yes, it's happened, but it is not that excessive reproduction has happened, it's not true, we've managed that. But people are beginning to live little longer, which is a wonderful thing. Yes? People are beginning to live longer. Everywhere you go, I was at the World Economic Forum, there were, at that time in 2008, there were 4 union ministers gloating to the foreign media, "We are the youngest nation in the world, we are the youngest nation in the world, our demographic dividend is like this, like that." I thought, okay, once, twice you say it, it's all right, but they said it half a dozen times. Then I asked, what happened to the old people? They said, no, we are the youngest nation in the world. All right, but what happened to the old people? No, we don't have old people, we are the youngest nation. All right, but why? Because nobody got old, everybody died young. See, is it not unnatural that you don't have old people in a society? Is it not unnatural? Only young people are there means what? Nobody got old? It's a dangerous situation. Yes, well, now people are getting little older, wonderful. So now we must also graduate our reproduction a little bit, calibrate a little bit. In this culture, largely in the Indian subcontinent, at certain times of history, we had it like this: 70% of the population was in family ways of life. 30% was ascetic. They were taking sannyas or whatever, they're never getting into that aspect. Just this managed the population very well. Just this one thing, 30% never engaged in sexual activity or marriage or anything, they did not produce children. So the remaining 70%, even if they had 5 children, by the time the child becomes 15, normally nature made it into 2 or 3, always. And periodically there were wars and people died more easily in the past because there was no such medical thing. Those who were not fit to live, they died. Today we have many things, it's all great that we've done certain things for the human well-being. But we must also understand the land that we live upon also has a life. It's a life by itself. You can't just be occupying every square inch of it and thinking we are doing something fantastic. You're stupid. Because today there are some studies which say, if all the insects on the planet die today, let's say all insects died today, in about 4.5 to 6 years' time, all life on the planet will disappear simply because there are no insects. Except deep down in the earth, there are certain microbes which may survive. If all the worms die today, in 18 to 24 months, all life on this planet will disappear, including you and me. If all the microbes disappear right now, all of us will be dead within 1.5 hours. But if all of us disappear, planet will flourish. Yes or no? So one wrong perception that's happened, religions have spread these messages saying that we were made in the image of God, so all other creatures are here to serve us. No, please just go and look at the movement of ants. An ant doesn't think he's there to serve you, he's got a life of his own. Yes or no? You interfere with that, he will do what he has to do to you. Isn't it? Does he think he's there to serve the human being because you went there, all of them put up their front legs and did this to you? Huh? He's got a complete life of his own. His life is important for him, isn't it? So these ideas that the planet and all the life was made to serve humanity is a very wrong idea. First of all, this idea that the creation is human-centric is the most dumbest idea we have on the planet. This creation was not made for human beings. We are just one consequence of the creation. On this, the biggest problem right now humanity has, why we are doing what we are doing, whether it's reproduction or construction or whatever else we are doing, why we are like this is, see, in this cosmos, nobody knows where it begins, where it ends. In this cosmos, this solar system, this sun and these few planets, 12, 14 planets, it is a tiny speck. Tomorrow morning, if this speck of a solar system just evaporates, nobody will notice it, it's that small. In this tiny speck, planet Earth is a microspeck. In that microspeck, Shillong is a super microspeck. In that, you are a big man. This is not a small problem. This is not a small problem, this is a very big problem. So everybody wants to leave their footprint. Reproduction largely is a footprint. People want to leave a footprint. I'm not saying nobody should have children, nobody should have children. But once you become human, the difference between us and other creatures is, whatever they do, we also do. They eat, they sleep, we sleep, they reproduce, we reproduce, they die, we die, all right? We're doing the same things. But the significance of being human is, we can do it consciously. Reproduction also must happen consciously, isn't it? Hello?
Thank you, Sadhguru. Sadhguru, how can a person stay committed to someone in a relationship? Is it natural to love someone and yet be sexually attracted to others? What should be the proper course of action that should follow, or how does one handle this?
See, there is a psychological integrity, there is emotional integrity, but there is a biological integrity also. Integrity does not mean morality. Integrity means you create a situation where it works best for you. So when we say integrity, suppose I say, there is a certain integrity to my body, this means it's strong and resistant to a whole lot of things, isn't it? It doesn't mean I'm morally stuck in something. So I'm talking about… I want you to understand the word integrity in that context. We're talking about integrity in terms of strength of this life. So if that is the thing, is it true? Do you remember how your great-great-great-great-great-grandmother 10 generations ago looked like? Do you remember? No. But her nose is sitting on your face. Yes or no? Body remembers, isn't it? Body remembers your forefathers 1,000,000 years ago. Yes or no? So what you're calling as my body is a heap of memory, isn't it so?
Yes.
Memory or no? See, now from Nepal you came to Shillong, you eat a lot of this Meghalaya food, your features won't change because your body remembers what is your genetics, no matter what. Or you start eating, let's say, cow's food or dog's food, your body will not get confused and become a dog or a cow because there is evolutionary memory in this. Do what you want, it never gets confused, isn't it? You start thinking I'm a dog and start barking like one, still the body won't change. Yes or no? Mentally you can, but body has such a deep-rooted memory. So this entire body, what you have, is essentially a certain integrity of memory. If that loses that memory integrity, then you will see it will become vulnerable to so many things. Now, the nature of the body is such that anything that you touch with a certain level of involvement will naturally absorb that memory. Not mentally, physically it'll absorb that memory. Traditionally in this culture we call this runanubandha. You heard of such a word? Runanubandha. What this means is physical memory that you gather. Why people… you will see this with people, let's say in their home, they will go and sit in one place. This will usually the older people you will see, they want to go and sit in the same place. They won't sit in another place. Have you noticed this? Even your dog, he comes, if he wants to sit here, he'll smell this, he'll smell that, he'll smell that, he'll smell that. And after much searching, he will settle down in that particular place. Next time you chase him somewhere, he comes, he goes and sits in the same place. Because there is memory. Today there is forensic equipment where you're sitting here right now, you went away. After 2, 3, 8 hours, if they come, not with a dog can easily do it. But with forensic equipment, we come here and just check this chair and we know it was you who was sitting here, not somebody else. So there is memory. Wherever you sit, stand, whatever you touch, there is memory and transaction happening all the time. Well, you come from Nepal, in India also it's very much there, in south is very strongly there, north maybe it's become weakened. People never give salt to another person. Do you know this? Here also? If somebody gives you salt, you say, please keep it there. Because there are certain materials which transmit memory much better than others. Salt, sesame seeds, lemons, like this if you give traditional people, they'll say, keep it there, I will take it. Because they don't want to develop runanabandha with you. Now, in India, if you see older generation of people, if you try to shake their hands, they'll do like this, because they don't want to get runanabandha with you. Because the idea is to keep the integrity of your body's memory in such a way that it doesn't become vulnerable to other things, that you become a very integrated life. If you want to nurture yourself to be a certain possibility, then you have to maintain the memory integrity. This is what runanabandha means. You keep your physical memory to the minimal. A sexual interaction is something where a huge amount of memory is taken from one to the other. So always, not in this society, everywhere else, forever people saw the advantage of keeping that memory to the minimal. If you make that memory very complex, you will see to be at ease will become very difficult after some time. There will be pleasure, but there will be no joy in your life. You can observe people, don't go by what I'm saying. You can observe people, they will have pleasure, they will giggle all the time, but you look at them, there is no joy in them, there's no ease. Because the ease will go away with excessive memory. This is not only with sexuality, there are many other things that you do like this. Right now you see this very much in the Western societies. Wherever I go, especially in America, people will come, Sadhguru, where is my hug? I say, it must be with you. Why is it with me? It is not like at a certain moment when you feel close to somebody, you hug them. It's like all the time you have to touch people. Because today's psychiatrists are analyzing these things and saying that is because they have not been sufficiently touched by their mothers and parents at an early age. When they grow up, they're desperately longing to touch somebody all the time. All these things have a serious impact on one's life. How much physical contact when the child is born, this will determine how much physical contact they will long for later on. And the memory of what an infant picks up from the mother at that time, because till a child becomes 4.5 years of age, in many ways, energy-wise, it's not a separate life. It's still attached to the mother's body. Actually, if by nature if people go till then, they must be drinking the mother's milk and connected up to 4.5 years, that's how naturally it was. So, the energy doesn't mature. At that time, more and more memory that you get from the mother is better and better to strengthen this. But once the child begins to move out and becomes an individual, life is organizing itself. People come to me and say, Sadhguru, can you bless my daughter, can you bless my son? First thing I ask is, how old? If they say 15, 16, 18, all right. If they're over 21, I say no. Because me blessing you, blessing will not go to your child. You may still think emotionally that's my child, but as far as life is concerned, it's become fully separate. Generally, the course of life is considered to be approximately 84 years or 1008 cycles of the moon. The cycles of the moon and our body is very directly connected. Only because our mother's bodies were in sync with the cycles of the moon, we are born, otherwise we wouldn't be born, isn't it? Hello? So, a full life is considered 1008 cycles of the moon, which will approximately considered as 83 to 84 years. So if one crosses 84, it's considered a full life. In this, the first quarter is the only time when it is connected to parentage. After that, the child must move, because energy-wise, you cannot connect those two lives anymore. So that is when the longing, if you have not created enough integrity within yourself, the longing for another body multiplies. Even though the hormonal phase may be higher between 15 to 20, the longing to bind and bond with somebody increases after 21 years of age because unknowingly you're like a satellite who fell off the main mother. You come off the motherboard. Now you want to attach to something unless you find some integrity. This is why between 12 and 18, one must do lot of sadhana to strengthen the body so that you don't desperately bind yourself to something or somebody. You must consciously, if you wish to take a partner, it must be a conscious process. If it's a compulsive process, then you will pay the price for it. This is not a question of morality. It is not that this is sin, that is sin. The question is, what is your priority in your life? If your priority is to make this life rise to a higher possibility, then you must be conscious. If you want to somehow live and go, it's okay.
Thank you, Sadhguru.
I'm sorry if I discouraged
You just answered my question, Sadhguru. Thank you so much for that.
Sadhguru, we all believe our life is precious, and I believe that our body is equally precious after we die. When we die, should we allow our body to be burned or buried or to utilize by someone else who is in the need of organ? Is this against the law of nature? What are your views on organ donation?
Well, this question will not be relevant in another 4 to 5 years because everybody will have stem cell organs growing whatever they need. You can have a spare heart growing in case somebody breaks it and or a liver or a kidney or whatever you need. Even they're saying you can even grow joints at some point, that you can have spare knees ready in case these wear out immediately. So, if you do not know this, in most, big hospitals, in the last 10-12 years' time, for most children, they're preserving a piece of the umbilical cord. As a part of the stem cell thing, you should know. Because we can manufacture almost any organ you want. So this question will become irrelevant. Technology is moving. About donating organs, well, see, giving away. Actually, somebody was asking me a question in Hyderabad, a film personality was asking, say, I don't love anybody that I'm willing to give my kidney to them. For me, love means I can take her out and she's nice and I can take her out for dinner, I can do this and that with her, but I'm not willing to give my kidney to her, so is it wrong? So you're asking, should I give my kidney to somebody? Not necessarily people whom you love, but just anybody, let them benefit after I'm dead, that's a question. See, there are many aspects to this, but first of all, if you already do not know this, there is a sinister business going on in the world. Very sinister business, particularly in Vietnam, Cambodia and some parts of Thailand. Organs are being stolen from live people. Once you campaign for organ donation, inevitably you will drive the societies there because you may be biology, but she's in commerce. If you talk about organ donation, she will see how to make a business out of it. Yes, isn't it? Somebody will look at it as an enterprise. Already it's become a sinister enterprise. In many African countries, this is happening. People are held down and their organs are stolen. This is happening. In a scale which may not be very large scale, but a scale which is of great concern. To that extent, it's gone. So if somebody needs an organ and somebody wants to donate, fantastic. What a wonderful gesture. But at the same time, I am not for campaigning for organ donation because you cannot control it. Once you create the market, you cannot control the supply. They will somehow find the supply, isn't it? If you don't die in time, they'll help you. Yes, they will. If not enough kidneys are coming, they will make sure enough people are dying today. You don't think they'll do it? They will do it. So, it is not good to campaign for organ donation. So many people have come to me saying, Sadhguru, you must campaign for organ donation. I said, I won't do this because I know the consequence. First of all, what you need to understand is, all our body parts, unless they're congenitally something wrong, most of the time, all our body parts are designed for a lifetime. Yes? Designed for a lifetime. Why don't we teach people to live responsibly in such a way that our organs last for a lifetime? We want people to drink and rot their liver, and then we want somebody else's liver. This should not be encouraged, I'm saying. People should understand, if I rot my liver, I will die. Yes or no? Yes. This understanding is not there. Everybody thinks it's okay, my liver is rotting, I'll get hers. It's going in this direction. We should not encourage that, if you ask me. So, this happened, you know. Once Shankaran Pillai was supposed to speak in the Rotary Club in Shillong. You heard of Shankaran Pillai? No? He's a famous guy. He was supposed to speak in Rotary Club. But these Rotary Club meetings are after 7 p.m. But by 7 p.m., usually Shankaran Pillai is fully sloshed. So he got fully sloshed. Then he came all drunk to the Rotary Club. And this meeting was about organ donation. You know, Rotary clubs are usually involved in these things. So his friend, a local guy who was supposed to introduce Shankaran Pillai to the club, people said, what is this? This man has come fully drunk. So he said, he is not an ordinary drunk. Because he is so committed to organ donation, he is preserving his organs in alcohol. So you want to preserve. It's most important that every human being takes this responsibility. The organs that are given to me by nature will last for a lifetime. Something happened, some ailment, accident, something else happened. Such a thing happens, always we can seek. But this entire culture of organ donation, people are looking for a cause, this is the problem. If you campaign too much for this will become a sinister possibility. Fortunately, the stem cells are coming and that could change everything.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sadhguru.
Okay, Sadhguruji, this is very common in my college, and it is true about me and also my friends. So, I'm in love with a girl, and and what happens is that I don't have the courage to talk to her, and this is a like self-doubt that I have. I think that I don't deserve her. So, what to do on this regard?
You are in love with a girl or you've fallen in love with a girl?
Actually, I fall in love.
Oh. This happened. Before he became a drunk, he was at the Shillong University. Shankaran Pillai. And he was doing his PhD. So one day he went to his mentor professor and said, sir, I need your help on something very important. So the professor said, yes, that's why I'm here, please tell me. Then he named a college beauty and he said, sir, I'm completely in love with her. I need your help on this. What do you mean you need my help? I'm not here to help you on those kind of matters. I'm here for academic purposes. He said, no sir, I'm really 50% successful. You just need to help me with the other 50%. He asked, what is 50% success anyway? He said, I'm completely in love with her and she doesn't know. The other 50% you must help me. So, just enjoy the love affair because because now it's totally in your control. If you also bring her into the picture, now she will take charge of it. I'm not saying you should not fall in love with somebody, but don't be in a rush to live. At this stage in your life, see how to build yourself up into a worthwhile life, then things will come to you in a certain way. If you rush into life too early, then other aspects of growth will it'll get stunted. Because you got emotionally entangled, now you immediately… the girl says, I'm going to come with you tomorrow morning. Then immediately you have to find some job, you've not completed your engineering, you will find one auto rickshaw to drive. Arey, all these things will happen. Love does all these things to you. So just… you're having a great love affair, just enjoy it, don't tell her.
Sadhguru, I think he also kind of, wanted to know about self-doubt that he has, although the context was that, but he's primarily asking about self-doubt.
See, this is not self-doubt, the doubt is about her. How she will respond, that is the doubt. Somewhere when it comes to yourself, the question of whether I'm good enough for something, not good enough for something, you should not worry about that. You must just see every day how you can be a better human being than the way you are right now. And then the world, the way it responds, tells you whether you're good enough or not. It's not for you to think whether… see, this is why there's an examination at the end of the year. Why? Because you may think you're a great engineer, but the examination results tell you. So this also is like that. You may think, I'm a hero, but well, the girl, she has her opinions. So instead of that, see how to make yourself better, in how many ways, not just the way you look. Because your looks will be ignored after some time. You have to make yourself better. How to make yourself better? At least you're trying to make yourself into a good engineer, that's a good idea. Another thing is, just see, better means what? What is it one thing that always draws people? What is it that one thing that makes a person look wonderful is, it is not the shape of your nose or the point of your chin or your hairstyle or something. A joyful face is always a beautiful face, isn't it so? Your nose can be like this, it doesn't matter. Joyful face is always a beautiful face. Do that one thing, maybe she will fall in love with you. Just rise and shine. If you rise and shine, everybody will look in that direction, isn't it? Learn to sing a song. We can train you if you want. Just one song that may make her fall in love.
You should soon join the school of Isha for singing courses. Thank you, Sadhguru. Next question is rather controversial, and you have also addressed this, but we are putting it again here because it is quite relevant. As is known that the majority of population in the state of Meghalaya is that of beef eaters. With the government banning consumption of beef in mainland India, people have an idea that the government is trying to control the very food habits of the citizens of a democratic nation. If beef is to be banned because of religious reasons, isn't it against the idea of secularism? And if it is for the environmental point of view, as you said, why not mutton ban or chicken ban, which are also reasons for greenhouse gas emission?
Well, let me change one aspect of the question. Nobody ever uses mainland India. That's only mainland China.
Okay. Rest of India.
This is also mainland India only. It is just that which is being misunderstood now because of certain things that have happened is, when Jawaharlal Nehru talked about building roads and bridges and industry across the country, including dams, because at that time we thought dams were the biggest things we could do, now our ideas have evolved into something else. When there were plans for Northeast, he was advised that don't touch Northeast. It is pristine nature and tribal cultures, do not try to modernize and destroy this. It's best it is left like that. So, initially it was a conscious decision not to touch Northeast because people were beautiful, they were living in their own ecosystems. There was no need to bring simply cars and trains and airplanes and make them like the rest of the world. They were doing great by themselves. But later on, development started happening in unplanned ways, little bit. At that time, they should have decided. But because the same party was in power, they respected the decision that Jawaharlal Nehru made. When he made the decision, it was a conscious decision. After that, it was just an emotional stuff, for which northeastern region has kind of paid a little bit of price. I wouldn't say it's a price, because living in pristine nature, without all the rubbish that you see in the rest of the cities, I think it's a great thing. But today, because of connectivity, because everybody is watching on the television, on the internet, how big cities are, how New York City is, how London is, how something else is, when you did not see any of those things, I think people here were doing fine by themselves. That way, the only country which has made a conscious decision like this and successfully going with that is probably Bhutan. Everybody else has succumbed to Western ways of life and they think we also have to become like that. Now it's unstoppable everywhere, including Northeast. Here, if you do not know, some 15,000 kilometers of highway is being planned. Once that happens, entire India will be driving all over Northeast, okay? I went to Ladakh and you won't believe, I went to Siachen for the yoga day. Thousands of motorcycles, all kinds of people who have no idea how to balance on two wheels also or on motorcycles. Everybody renting a motorcycle, getting a license right there. There's a motorcycle rental, next to that we'll organize licenses for you. Right there, instant license and hundreds of motorcycles everywhere. It is no more the Ladakh, pristine Ladakh that it was, simply tourists and traffic jams on the mountains, unbelievable. Well, that's going to happen to you because you asked for development. Because this is the kind of development that's happening in the world, unfortunately. Everything in excess. And in 15-20 years it'll happen, this government has decided to put railways, airways and roadways and everything. So, we can think it's development, it is also a certain loss to the country because tribal cultures will be totally lost, pristine forests will be lost, everywhere there will be picnickers, okay? Not wildlife enthusiasts or something, picnic people will be all over the place. So, having said that, now the reason why it is banned in many major states in the thing and at the same time they've not touched this here is, in those states there is a huge emotion about that. Democracy, you talked about secularism, democracy is always about considering the concerns of the people. When there is such a big emotion, it's better you take that into thing. And everybody thinks this law came in the last 4 years. No, this law has been there since 1950. So this has been the way we have been running the country. We make a law and we don't have the courage to implement it. Now some hothead on the street, he decides to enforce the law. When mob tries to enforce the law, it will happen in cruel ways. It will happen in ridiculous and in archaic ways of doing things. So this is something we must decide. If we make a law, do we have the courage to implement the law? Do we have the means to implement the law? Otherwise, better there is no such law. So now, in the major states, if you do not implement it, there will be backlashes, there will be violence. So implement it, there is some kind of grouse happening, a small group of people. It's better to manage them rather than create a on-the-street battleground, okay? You don't want that right now because we are poised for economic development. Everything is being done to see social unrest doesn't happen. So here traditionally, see even in India, this is a very gender-biased law. You can only not slaughter a female cow. You can slaughter a bull, you can slaughter a buffalo. Look at this, gender discrimination. You can slaughter me but not you. Only cow protection because in this culture, this is a pastoral culture, where we have an understanding. Now it's different, but in the past, if there is a bad agricultural year, if there is a famine, we used to have serious famines in this country, if there is a famine, if I have 2 cows in my house, my children will live. You don't have cows, your children will die. This is a wisdom stuck in people's minds. So when because of my cow, my children lived, I worship this cow because this is the source of my life and my progeny. So there is a very deep engagement with the cow, in the sense when I was growing up, we were never fed milk from multiple cows. That specific cow, it has a name, and every day they will take you there and you at least give something, one banana, one little grass or something to the cow, and always my grandmother will be saying that you're like your mother, you're drinking milk from this cow, you must be always grateful to this cow, this kind of thing. Like there's a huge emotion between you and that cow because you're drinking its milk biologically and emotionally you're connected. You're not drinking dairy milk which is million cows and buffaloes and we don't know what else. So this has been the culture. Because of that, because we have drunk the milk of this cow, if we tomorrow want to eat the cow, that is considered cannibalism, not cow slaughter. I want you to understand this. It is deep-rooted in us because like our mother, this cow gave us milk. Tomorrow how to kill it and eat it up, this is considered cannibalism, and we said, you never kill the cow. But they allowed other big animals to be killed also. And this methane gas you're talking, this is not a problem in India, this is United States problem. All the statistics and stuff, we just import it from the West and we think it's like this. In United States, how the cows are kept is a completely different matter. If you go into your cattle thing, it's something you must go and see, then you will not ask this question again. You must go and see, there will be 500,000 or 1 million cattle in one place. There'll be not a speck of green because so many animals moving, full of dung and everything. All in sheds, sometimes they move them out for exercise and again back. On the highway side, if they're there a kilometer away, the kind of sounds they're making, it will churn your stomach. Because they're intelligent enough to know that they're going to be slaughtered. You must see the screams of the cows. Once you go there, never again you will touch anything because basically it will churn up something within you. Why I'm saying this is, see, cow is an animal where I have seen this personally, somebody that I knew. This is a lady, she named this cow as Lakshmi. It always was with her, 30 years that cow has become, it's very old but still with her. This lady died at 87. This cow came and just stood in front of the house, did not move from there, refused to eat. 2 days later, it just fell dead right there. And I have seen cows, if you are very attached to it and you're in some grief, you're not even with the cow is somewhere else, but it knows tears are flowing from the cow's eyes. So because it has human emotions, we said you cannot kill this because it is exhibiting human emotion. If you kill it, it amounts to cannibalism. When there is such a sensitivity, if you say, in front of my house you will slaughter, obviously there is going to be a problem. So in this part of the country, there is no such sentiment, so they did not pass the law. I think it's a very sensible thing to do, isn't it? But every doctor in the world is telling you, red meat is the source of every goddamn disease you have, so you better change. It is not a religion, it's a certain sense of humanity. Humanity finds expression in various kinds of aesthetics. This is our aesthetic.
What about the minorities living in those areas, Sadhguru?
They can eat whatever
do
else they
not.
want.
But when it is imposed, the ban is imposed, they cannot.
Suppose I like to eat you. You denying me my food. I enjoy human flesh. How can you pass a law against it, I'm asking? Hello?
There is a law already that you cannot eat humans, but…
That is what… there is already a law that you can't eat a cow.
The question is about passing of the law itself.
No, I'm saying, see, you cannot eat a human being. Why? Because it's a human being. Now, we drank the milk of the cow, we have shared emotions with the cow, we don't see it as separate, because in the villages, the cow lives in your house. There is no barn somewhere, it lives with you in the same house. So what is grown up with you, lived with you, shared life with you, you don't suddenly kill and eat it. Then you can as well eat your mother, what's the problem? I'm saying, what's the problem? It's good food. So I have taste for human flesh, how can you stop me from eating it? Don't start such an argument, it's not good.
Thank you, Sadhguru.
Thank you, Sadhguru. Moving on to next question. This was the most frequently asked question by the youth of our university. We feel parents today are becoming liberal with their children in many aspects. However, when it comes to intercaste and interreligion marriage, people are still orthodox, and people draw a rigid line that children cannot cross. Is it merely because of the fear of society? As the saying goes, "Sabse bada rog kya kahega log." So, as a youth, what can we do to convince our parents and bring them out of this social fear?
See, the fear may not be about just what somebody says. We must understand the caste system for what it is. Well, before I say that, I want you to understand this. I never ever asked anybody, what is your caste, because it doesn't even occur to me in my mind. So I'm against intercaste marriages because somebody will take this one sentence and make me into trouble, but I keep doing this always because it's by intent. I am against intercaste marriages because, first of all, why the hell do you identify with the caste and then try to do inter? When I was young, if I wanted to marry somebody, I won't even bother what the caste is, I never asked. Actually, this happened to me. My wife, I never asked what's her caste. I just came home one day and told my father, I'm marrying this girl. He asked, who is she? I said, her name. I only knew her pet name, I didn't know her full name. Because that's what I called her. Then he asked, who is her father? I said, I don't know. He said, what? You don't know the father's name, you'll marry her? I said, I wish to marry only the girl. I don't wish to marry her father, nor his property, nor his kanda, nor anything, I'm just marrying the girl. So what caste are they? I said, I don't know. What, you don't know their caste? I said, I don't know. Because except what people have told me, even I don't feel my caste anywhere. I have uncasted myself completely, I'm not cast in anything. So I didn't check her caste either. Then somebody came, once this happens in the family, all the uncles and aunts and others, they are all warriors. They all get into the act. They came and said, we don't even drink water in their house. Their caste is like that. I said, did they invite you? They have not invited you to come home. Only after they invite you, whether you want to drink coffee or whatever, we will see. Right now they have not invited you, nor am I planning to take you to their house, nor am I planning to go to their house. I'm just marrying the girl. They couldn't believe it. I said, boy, how can we do this? Our families can't sit together, they're caste. I said, I never said I'm inviting you to my wedding either. So, I just declared to my wife, I said, you're my wife, that's it. She said, this is all no witness, no arrangement, no garland. I said, see, no bloody witness can ever hold me to anything. When I say something, that's it. I will not go back on it. I said, I'm married to you, this is it. So I just came and announced to everybody, I'm married. They said, when, where, how? That's not your business. This is my wife, then that's it. So I'm saying, first of all, why do you caste yourself and then why do you intercaste yourself? Not necessary. But there is a social situation, that is, in this country, why this caste system stuck on like this is, this was the only means of transmitting skills. Suppose your father is a goldsmith. Now he will marry you only to your goldsmith, another goldsmith, because right from your childhood you have helped the goldsmith carrying this and that, you know how to handle it. Suppose he puts you, suddenly marries you to your blacksmith, you will feel lost in that house and you know nothing about it. Because knowledge was transmitted only through the family tree. Today, we don't know what his father is, but now he's become an engineer. We don't know what your parents are, now you're becoming a bio thing, because we have institutions which transmit knowledge. When there were no such institutions, family was the only institution transmitting knowledge, so we didn't want to corrupt that, so we maintained that. Now that is irrelevant. One part of the caste system has become irrelevant. Another reason why people are sticking to the caste is because there's no social security in the country. If tomorrow something goes wrong with your life, okay, you married some strange boy, and if something went wrong with your life, you fell ill or he fell ill or accident happened, something happened, now the only people you can fall upon is your clan. You go and knock on somebody else's door, they won't open their door. You have to go to your caste. If you say, I belong to this caste, they'll say, come, we'll do something for you. So this is the social security you still have. So in urban areas, it may not matter because you have insurance and this and that, but in rural areas, if you just break away from your caste completely, you are completely on your own. If something goes wrong, there's nobody going to stand up for you. So this is the social security system. Don't try to worry about this destroying caste system by intercaste, all this. If you create a proper universal social security system, caste will die a natural death. Nobody has to kill it, it will just go.
Sadhguru, this is the final question of the round. In an interview with Karan Johar, you have defined organized religion as madness. But the matter of fact is that the majority of the people in the planet do identify themselves with one religion or the other. And in the process, they create some kind of wall between those of different faiths. So what can we as youth do to break that wall and help everybody live united?
People divide themselves in so many ways. As you just now said, mainland India. We'll pardon you because you're from Nepal. Mainland China, mainland India, not like that, just India. Now, the thing is, see, for a whole lot of people, they're not in such a level of consciousness right now. If it comes to me, I'm like this, I have no struggle within me for anything. So I don't look up, because I know the planet is round and it's spinning. If I look up, I'm looking up in the wrong direction. But for somebody else who is fearful, somebody else who's not figured their life, for them just believing there is somebody up there gives them solace. They're going to open the psychiatry department. But you will see psychiatry is very inefficient because you can treat only one patient at a time. And you need a lot of furniture like this, you need a couch, But now, God is holding your hand, don't worry. A whole lot of people, they're managing their psychological balance. It's true or false is not your question. The question is whether it's working or not working. It's working on one level. Yes or no? A whole lot of people will be cracked up if they don't have something that they believe they're holding on to. If that is not there, they will crack up. Because not everybody is on a spiritual path, not everybody is so organized within themselves that they will handle things out of their own conscious intelligence. They need something to lean on. Why people are leaning upon each other, why people are making… See, freedom is the most valued thing in the world, but still most people are trying to build bondages among themselves. Why? They need somebody to lean on, isn't it? So when all these people fail, they need somebody else to lean on. So, what you call as religion is a certain belief system. Belief is a very inexpensive and efficient psychiatry. It helps people to stay. Most people will lose their mind if there's nothing to fall back on. Isn't it so? But as a human being evolves from belief to knowing, then it'll naturally go away. The entire movement that I'm doing right now is a movement from religion to responsibility. What this means is, religion means God's will. When is it God's will? When things go wrong. Yes? It's also an insurance for failure. When things don't work out, it's God's will. Otherwise, failure will poke you and poke you and poke you. In case she doesn't respond, it's God's will. Yes. No, it's her will. Now, if you take away this aspect from people, a whole lot of people will get confused and suffer immensely. You must evolve with society from religion to responsibility. What this means is that you are willing to see that your destiny is your making. It'll take a certain amount of organization for an individual human being to come to that. In this culture, forever we have thought that, because in this culture there is no the God, anybody. There's never been. All the people that you worship in this culture are people who walked this geography. Whether Rama, Krishna, Shiva, anybody you take, they all walked this land at some time. And they were not even a super success. Nor did they do anything superhuman. They did not drop from the sky, they did not fly in the air, they did not walk upon the water, nothing. Drudgery, daily. All kinds of troubles in their life, daily. More trouble than any of you will go through. All kinds of things. You look at Rama's life, he's still having real estate issues. So, even during his life, he lost his kingdom, went to the jungle, lost his wife, went and got her back, again lost her, almost killed his children. Then he never saw his wife. She means a lot to him. If he was that kind, that if his wife was kidnapped, he found a local girl immediately. I mean, he's a king, he could have found another wife, all right? Any man could have found. But he walked nearly 3,000 kilometers down to get her back. Fought a war, burnt a beautiful city and got her back and again lost her. This is not a successful life, but the reason why we are bowing down to him is because no matter what life did to him, he stayed free. He did not become resentful, he did not become hateful, he did not even become reactive to anything, nor did he become a recluse. He participated, fulfilled all his duties, whatever he has to do, all his responsibilities as a king. He has personal grief, but that personal grief never became a part of his consciousness or his actions in the world. To such an extent, when he came back after killing Ravana, he wanted to go for 1 year of penance in Himalayas. His brother Lakshmana asked, "Are you crazy? This man kidnapped your wife and after so much difficulty we got her back and now you want to do penance for having killed him?" So Rama said, he had 10 qualities. 9 are all treacherous qualities. I don't mind killing them. But one aspect of him was he was a great devotee. Unfortunately, I had to kill the devotee also. For that, I want to do 1 year of penance. Because the man is free from all these things, when one is free, in this culture we say he is attained to mukti or moksha. The highest value has always been liberation, not God, not heaven. Always liberation. Freedom has been the highest value. Because of that, we worship him, look up to him. We didn't say he is the God. He is somebody worth emulating because he represents freedom, no matter what. See, this is something you must understand. You cannot decide what life throws at you. But what you make out of it is 100% yours, isn't it? So the important thing is that you must grow. If you want to grow with God, please grow with God. If you want to grow without God, you grow without God. But you must grow. That is, you must grow towards your ultimate freedom. That's important. So, what you call as religion never existed in this land. Various kinds of spiritual processes. And anybody who emulated, who was worthy of emulation, we started worshipping all of them. Today, a lot of people are worshipping Tendulkar as cricketing god. See, it's very appropriate for this culture. If somebody excelled in something beyond what you consider normally as human, we say he's a deva, okay? Arjuna is worshipped as a… yesterday I was at the award ceremony, Arjuna award for everybody. Simply because he excelled in archery in a certain way, now we're saying he's an archery deva, okay? So if you excel in your microbiology, we will say you are a microbiology. This is happening in the world. See, here we are doing it culturally, but is it not happening everywhere? People are almost worshipful about Albert Einstein, aren't they? People are almost worshipful about Mahatma Gandhi, aren't they? People are almost worshipful about Nelson Mandela, aren't they? Because when some human being exhibits certain qualities which is above what we consider as a normal human being, then we bow down to that. This is not… here it is consciously done, but in every culture people will naturally do it, isn't it so? So this is a religionless, godless land. Here we always told you, your life is your karma. Did we? This means your life is your making. There is no Uparwala managing you. This is the only culture. Only thing is, does it mean to say I created the whole universe? Obviously it was here before you and me came. So there is a dimension of intelligence making this happen. Where is it? What did you… okay. What do you have for lunch? Okay, I'm sorry, breakfast. Chapati. See, does she look like a chapati? She eats a chapati and she becomes like this. There is an intelligence within you which can make a chapati into a human being, yes or no? A simple dough, wheat, flour and chapati into such a complex machine, yes or no? Is there an intelligence like that here or not? This is the biggest mistake we made in the world. People went about describing God means love. All the people who lack love in their life, they said God is love. All the people who are fallen, they said God is compassion. All the people who are hungry, they said God is food. But If you don't subscribe to any of these things, if you open your eyes and pay attention to everything in this universe, if you look at this flower, if you look at this leaf, if you look at everything, you look at a tiny ant, how it is made, if you pay enough attention, there is a tremendous intelligence, isn't it? Hello? But nobody said God is intelligence. This is the biggest mistake we've made. The reason for human stupidity is just this: we did not identify divine as the highest level of intelligence. But that's what it is. If you don't believe anything, if you just pay attention to creation, do you see an intelligence beyond your brains everywhere? In every leaf, every flower, every ant, every microorganism? Yes or no? You're looking in the microscope? Yes. Do you see tremendous things right there? Yes. If you pay attention to the universe, including your own body, you would see there is a phenomenal intelligence functioning right here, isn't it? If you identify with that intelligence, if this intelligence which can make chapati into a full-fledged human being like this, if you even find conscious access to even one drop of that intelligence, you will live magically, isn't it? Not miserably. So miserable people are always looking how to fall back on something. They need a fallback. And those who may have made a misery out of their life, they want to go to heaven. Yes, those who made a hell out of themselves, they want to go to heaven. But I'm asking you, is it true that all human experience is coming from within or outside? Coming from within. What's coming from within you must happen the way you want it. Yes or no? What's coming from outside, I cannot determine because somebody else, something else throws those things at me. What's coming from within me must happen my way, isn't it so? What's coming from you, I cannot decide. We don't know what you will do. But what's coming from within me must happen my way. If this one thing, if you take charge, you will live a blissed out life. When you're blissed out, you will not want to go to heaven. Only those who have made a hell out of themselves want to go to heaven. So religion has come out of these belief systems simply because of the ignorance of how life is made. So the entire movement is to move people from religion to responsibility. This does not mean we want to destroy some religion, no. A whole lot of people right now need that belief. If you take away that belief, they will be shattered. Yes or no? It is like when you were a child, any of you can say, answer this question. When you were a little girl or a little boy, what did you play with? A toy? No. Do you remember any one important thing? Usually in the West, it's all teddy bear or something like this. You had a teddy bear? You had a teddy bear.
Yes.
When you had the teddy bear and hugged it and walked around, it meant a world to you, isn't it? At that time, if I came and snatched the teddy bear and took it away, probably you would be scarred for life, isn't it so? For always you would remember, this man came and took away my teddy bear, hurt deeply. But since then you have grown up, do you remember where the teddy bear went? No. Somewhere as you grew up, religion should fall off like that. If you take it away, it's going to shatter people. It's not good to do that because it's serving a certain purpose. It is serving a very important purpose in human societies. You can't just take it away. If people grow out of it, it's wonderful. But this doesn't mean you become an atheist. See, there is no difference between an atheist and a theist. A theist believes something that he does not know in a positive way. An atheist believes the same thing in a negative way. Both of them are not sincere enough to admit we don't know. Actually, you do not know. Hello? There were two brothers. There were two brothers, little boys, highly energetic boys. When young boys are very energetic, they're in constant trouble. So they're always into some mess. Parents are very embarrassed, log kya bolega. Very embarrassed about their children because everybody is discussing their children. So they want to fix them. But you know how to reproduce, but you don't know how to fix them. Does anybody know? No. If you have the necessary love and commitment, you can wait out their problems. Otherwise it'll freak you, children will freak you. Yes, they do. So they decided to take these boys to the local parish priest. Because together they're strong, they decided to take the younger boy first separately. So they took the young boy, made him sit in the priest's office and they left. The boy was sitting there, priest came. See, all this needs a certain drama, otherwise it doesn't work. Long robes and a serious face, a very grave face. And he looked at the boy and walked up and down and up and down for effect. The boy sat there doing the ping pong act. Then the priest thought up a strategy. If I remind this little fellow that God is within him, all his mischief will go. So this is the whole problem with the world. People who never raise children, they have fantastic ideas. Those who have raised children, they know none of the damn ideas work. So he thought up this strategy and suddenly with a booming voice he asked, "Where is God?" The boy was bewildered, he looked all over because he must be somewhere in the priest's office. Then the priest saw he's not getting the point. So he leaned on the table, pointing at the little boy. "Where is God?" He's giving him a clue. God is within you. "Where is God?" The boy looked even more bewildered and looked under the table. Then he saw he's not getting it. So he walked around the table, tapping on the little boy's chest, asked, "Where is God?" He's clearly giving a clue where he is. The boy just got up and bolted out of the room, ran to the place where his elder brother was. He said, "We are in some deep trouble." The elder brother asked, "Why, what happened?" He said, "They've lost their God and they think we did it." I am not taking away anything from you. When you say, "I believe something," you must understand, you made up something for a certain convenience. As long as it serves that convenience, it's fine. But if you're stretching it beyond that point to divide humanity, you better.
Thank you so much, Sadhguru. Now we shall move on to the next session, that is social media questions that we have received. The questions will also be displayed on the screen, and also Abhijit will read them out.
As we have very limited time, so we'll be going through only one question. So this question we got it from Red FM campaign. So they came and then they asked some questions to the students. And this question was asked by Nangu C. Sari. And she asked, why do people from Northeast India feels alienated from the mainland India?
Well, as I told you earlier, it was a well-intentioned plan which went bad. Intention was not to disturb the tribal culture, not to disturb the nature, but somewhere after 20 years when we saw people are aspiring for something else, we should have changed the plan. But in India, changing plan takes a long time. So now it's changing. I think you will not feel alienated. In another 5 years, you will not feel alienated, you will feel invaded by all kinds of people. Once the highways are laid all over, railways are laid all over, so you will not be complaining, you will be reverse complaining. But stop calling India mainland India, please.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sadhguru.
Thank you, Sadhguru. It was wonderful interacting with you. We now open the floor to the audience. Audience, anyone who has question to Sadhguru can now ask question to him.
सदगुरु को मेरा नमन।
नमस्कार।
सदगुरु, ये मेरा प्रश्न नहीं, अभी तो एक जिज्ञासा है. This is not a question but a curiosity. Okay, I think you all can hear me. The thing is that we are sitting in the temple of knowledge and we are the striver or seeker of the knowledge. We always quest about knowledge. But the question here is, how much knowledge should we attain? I mean, knowledge is not sufficient, whatever quantity that we attain, but more important than attaining the knowledge should be understanding and then the implementation of knowledge. In India, basically in our education system, we see the stress is upon the imparting the knowledge. Whether the person understands it or implements it is invalid. So how can we improve upon that, sir?
Well, education, both school and college education as we know it right now, could become absolutely irrelevant in this world in the next 10 to 15 years' time. Maybe in India it will take 20 to 25 years' time. But all the knowledge that you acquire in a matter of 25 years of education, normally 20 years of education or so, even if you come out with a PhD, it's approximately 25 years of education. In this 25 years, after your PhD, what you know, in another 10-15 years, a simple gadget which is smaller than your phone will know more than you. So, this form of education, of accumulating information and thinking we are getting somewhere, will become irrelevant because once this little machine knows all this, we can program other machines which know this and it will also implement it. They are looking at right now, there are experiments like this going on. They are looking at how a robotic machine, right now they got little fanciful commercial companies, they're trying to build a man or a woman who will fool other people that you cannot make out whether this is real or this is robotic. But it's not necessary, it can be a square machine which does everything that a human being does. The aesthetics of it is not really important. Right now they're trying to make it acceptable, so it's taking a long time. But if you just make it like this furniture, which does everything that a human being does, now they're looking at how a machine could engineer a whole building and order other 10 machines to build the whole building without a single human being. These experiments are already on and they're quite successful. The Honda company chairperson has promised by 2050, he will have a robotic football team which will win the World Cup football. Everything that the best players in the world know about football, they will program it into that machine. That machine will move better than any football player, kick the ball whichever way you want, everything. So, the way we are valuing information right now, if I know something, information that you do not know, suddenly I am superior to you. This is how our whole thing about… there was a time when everybody was illiterate. There was one man in the village who could read a book. People would sit there gaping at him because he can read from a paper. He's saying so many things from a paper. People sat there gaping. I've seen such situations. People can't believe all this is there in this book. So just reading a book, people acted divine. People who can read a book, they're acting like they're agents of God, aren't they, all over the world? Hello? Just because they can read a book. So now it's becoming irrelevant because everybody can read. Similarly, when the machines can remember… see, this process of acquiring information, analyzing and applying, this a machine can do better than you. The Google lady knows much more than any of you. Yes or no? Yes. Ask her anything without batting an eyelid, she'll say. Yes? Not even taking 2 seconds to answer, just like that. And she is nothing. What is now happening in the next 10 years, what will happen is such, one cell phone-like machine can store information about everything in the universe if you wish, and can act, can process and act. Not just you have to look for it, it can process and act looking at the situation as you can act. So this dimension of education, of gathering information, analyzing and applying, this will become meaningless in a short period of time. Well, it's a strange thing that people have been inviting me in the last 1.5, 2 years to speak in all kinds of artificial intelligence conferences. When initially they called me, I said, why me? I'm not an artificial intelligence, I'm a natural intelligence. Why do you think I'm a robotic person or something? They said, no, the problem is we will lose our jobs, what are we supposed to do? I said, that means it's a holiday. Isn't it fantastic? Hello? The machine does everything, isn't it fantastic? Right now, just look back and see, 100 years ago, everybody was doing everything with a crowbar and a pickaxe. Now I see earth mover machines are operating. Now even the menial labor, if you withdraw the machine and say, use the crowbar, he says, no, I won't do it, ask the machine to do. Yes or no? Human muscle, what all it could do, a man's muscle, now is irrelevant because the machine can do what 1,000 men can do, it can do alone by itself. Similarly, what these 1,000 minds can do, intellects can do, if one machine can do, is it not a great relief? Hello? Isn't that fantastic? It is. So, but people are worried, what will we do? Now this is a great possibility because once there is no need to acquire information and process it and act smart in front of other people, all this is gone. Now, very, very important because I will become very significant. Because what can you do beyond the intellect? Other dimensions of intelligence, if you do not explore, you will feel like a dumb idiot in front of that machine. But there are things human being can do, which a machine cannot do. We called you a human being. We did not call an elephant as an elephant being, tiger as a tiger being, an ant as an ant being, a giraffe as a giraffe being. We only called you as a human being. Why do you think? Because you are supposed to know how to be. No other creature knows how to be. Nor does anybody, any machine knows how to be. This one creature knows how to be. So, golden era for human societies are coming if they figure out what else to do with myself. When everything that you call as work is done by machines, what is the significance of being human? If you realize this, it's golden era. If you don't, you will go crazy. Or you'll get drunk. Yes. When people don't know how to handle life, one option is get intoxicated, isn't it? It gives you a pleasant death. Yes, please.
Thank you, Sadhguru.
Anybody, take the microphone.
Good evening, Sadhguru.
Where are you?
My name is Ria. I'm a research scholar from the
Where are you?
Northeastern Hill University. You're probably not being able to see me because I'm talking to you from outside the auditorium.
Okay.
My question to you is regarding dealing with peer and societal pressure. Since I'm a research scholar, I'm involved with my study, which is going to take a long time to complete. But when I look at my friends, from my school and college days, they are already employed, and I can see them, they're going quite ahead in this fast-paced world. What I want to know from you is how do I deal with this peer pressure and societal pressure so that there is a peace of mind at the end of the day? Thank you.
Oh, peace of mind should not be at the end of the day. It should be at the beginning of the day. Hello? Well, I was supposed to speak. Ria, we cannot see you, I'm not even able to see the screen. Is she on the screen? No. I was to speak in Tel Aviv. I flew out of Atlanta in United States. I'm supposed to land there mid-afternoon and speak at 6:30 in the evening. Due to some delays in flight, I ended up there at 6 in the evening. I landed at 6. 6:30 is my talk. I have a problem because in this 36 years, I have not been late to a single event yet. So today I don't want to lose my reputation, so I quickly change in the airport and rushing. I'm traveling an American airline, so there is nothing edible on the plane. So I'm super hungry, famished. But there's no time to even grab something. So I just rushed. And when I went to the venue, this doesn't happen to me at all, but on that day, the venue is a fine restaurant. I'm speaking in a very fine restaurant. That's where the meeting is. I thought, this is a fantastic place to come to when you're so hungry. Then people have already gathered and people are coming in, some people are greeting me. One man comes to me and says, "Shalom." I ask him, what does it mean? He says, "This is the highest way of greeting." I said, "Well, that's your opinion. What does it mean?" He said, "No, this is really the highest way of greeting." All right, what does the word mean? He said, "It means peace." I said, why is peace the highest way of greeting unless you're born in Middle East? In South India, if you come up in the morning and say, "Peace," I'll say, "What's wrong with you today?" True with Northeast also, isn't it? Somebody comes and says, "Peace." Say, "Are you nut? Nutcase or something, what's the matter with you?" But in Middle East, peace is the highest level of greeting, because all the time people have been clashing for so long, they have forgotten what is peace. Somebody has to come and greet you, "Peace." So, peace is not at the end of the day. It should be at the very beginning of the day, because can you enjoy your breakfast in the morning if you're not peaceful? You need not be ecstatic, at least you must be peaceful to enjoy the breakfast, isn't it? Can you enjoy a walk along the street if you're not peaceful? Hello? Can you enjoy the company of a few people that you know in your life if you're not even peaceful? You may not be in love with them, but at least if you're peaceful, you enjoy somebody's company, isn't it? So peace is not the final thing in your life. Those people who think peace is the highest value, such people will only rest in peace. So, Ria, don't ever think peace is at the end of the day. No. It's very important. You must be blissed out. If that is not possible for you right now because I don't know what's your subject of research, but at least you must be peaceful. Even if you want to research, research means something that's already there, you are trying to see it and articulate it, right? When you're not peaceful, you don't even see what is in front of you. Yes or no? Have you noticed on a certain day you are all disturbed, you're looking for your car keys everywhere and the damn thing is in your hands? So how will you do research if you don't even know peace? Peace just means that you are in a certain state of pleasantness of mind. And this is needed. There is substantial scientific evidence to show you that only when you are in a pleasant state of experience, your body and your mind functions at its best. But the department is coming. It should come, But right now, people have made peace of mind the last thing in their life. It's like this. If your body is pleasant, we call this health. It's pleasant. That's why I'm feeling healthy, isn't it? If it becomes very pleasant, we call it pleasure. If your mind is pleasant, we call this peace. If it becomes very pleasant, we call it joy. If your emotions become pleasant, we say you're in love. If it becomes very pleasant, we say you're in compassion. If your very life energies become pleasant, we say you're in bliss. If it becomes very pleasant, we say you're in ecstasy. If your surroundings become pleasant, this means success. Only for making surroundings pleasant, you need the cooperation of other people. But body pleasant, mind pleasant, emotion pleasant, energy pleasant is 100% your business, yes or no? Now your friends are doing whatever they're doing in cities or wherever else they are. But for you, one thing has happened, you're in the refuge or the comfort of a university, surrounding is already pleasant. It's a big thing. Creating a pleasant surrounding. Why do you think people want to build their own house and populate it with people who love them? They want a pleasant surrounding, isn't it so? Hello? You don't want to live with somebody who hates you. Nothing wrong with that person, it's just that it's not pleasant for you, isn't it? You want somebody who loves you, who wants somebody who is pleasant around you, and you want an atmosphere that's pleasant around you. To do this, they work for a whole lifetime. Here, the university is providing you a pleasant surrounding, and you already said your research is going to take a long time, which is not good. You must finish it as quickly as possible. But keeping your body, mind, emotion and energies pleasant is 100% your business. Only if you do that, your research could become some kind of a worthwhile phenomena. Otherwise, somebody who cannot even harness peacefulness in their mind, what great things will they do? If you cannot manage your mind, what big things are you going to do in your life, I'm asking. When you cannot manage your mind, can you manage the world? Oh, please, all the students, you must understand, peace is not at the end of your life. It must be the beginning of your life. It's a most fundamental requirement, isn't it? If you want to do anything sensible, even if you're not blissed out, at least you must be peaceful. Less than that is bad.
Good afternoon,
Namaskaram,
Sadhguru.
Sadhguru.
Good evening, Sadhguru.
Where
My
are you?
There's just an announcement.
name is.
This will be the last question. We're so sorry, we are running out of time. So this one will be the last question.
Namaskaram.
Good evening, Sadhguru. My name is Nit.
Okay, the last two questions.
Yes, please, yourself.
Please go ahead with your question.
My question for you today is, as you just said that.
Can you hold the microphone like this?
Yes.
You know, like this, you seen Lady Gaga? Like that, yeah.
So you just said that we humans should use our organs wisely so that they last us for a lifetime. But on the other hand, we are seeing that today's youth are more inclined towards drinking, weed, and smoking. So how do you think should we raise the consciousness towards them, or how can an individual like me can help at least one or two to realize that these things are not good for health?
One or two, make up your mind, huh?
Two, sir.
So, when somebody has tasted some pleasantness, either to drug or drink or sexuality or whatever, they tasted some pleasantness. If there was no pleasantness, they wouldn't have gone that way. But the pleasantness may suck them into destroying their body, that's another matter. But the pleasantness is such that even in spite of the threat, cigarette smoking is going, injurious to you and you show some cancerous mouth, all this, but still people are smoking because there is a pleasantness attached to it, whatever the consequence may be. If you want to get people out of that pleasantness, if you try this forcefully, well, it's not worked. What's the point doing something forcefully? Or first of all, what's the point doing something that doesn't work? You must offer them a pleasantness which is beyond that. You're a bit too far away, but Ria, look at my eyes and see, don't I look stoned? No, just look at me properly. I'm always stoned. I'm always stoned, never touched a substance. I'm asking you, is it true that this body is the most sophisticated and complex chemical factory on the planet? If you were a good CEO, would you manufacture what you want? When somebody gives you such a complex machinery, would you not manufacture what you want? Right now, you are busy manufacturing unpleasantness. You may call it stress, you may call it anxiety. Essentially, you're chemically screwed up. Yes or no? Because you don't know how to manage this. If you manage this well, you will produce that kind of pleasantness within you, you wouldn't want to touch anything else, because this life is just being alive is such a fantastic thing. But unfortunately, did we teach our youth any other way to know pleasantness? We did not teach, so they are puss. It's time. This is what consciousness means, that if you become conscious how this functions, naturally you will create highest level of pleasantness for yourself, isn't it? If you could sit here and be absolutely blissed out, would you smoke? I'm asking you. Would you? You wouldn't smoke, drink or pop anything because there is more chemistry here than you can get in any of those things. Is there or no? There is more complexity of chemistry here or no? Question is only, have you explored this possibility? That's the only thing. Unfortunately, we have taken to Western ways, whether it comes to health or pleasure, both ways we pop. We pop something to be healthy chemicals, to be peaceful chemicals, to be joyful chemicals, to any experience chemicals, even to grow food chemicals, to filter water, purify water chemicals. Something that kills all the insects and worms and germs and whatever, you think it's not killing you in some way? Maybe slowly the dose is not enough, that's all. Hello? The dosage is not enough. For the small creature, small dose, big creature, big dose, isn't it? So for everything chemicals. So this is something, this is a responsibility that's sitting on our heads right now, disease. The way the world is going right now, I estimate, unless we do something drastic in the next 10-15 years' time, I estimate in another 50 to 75 years' time, almost 90 to 95% of the humanity will be on chemicals for everything. To be healthy, to be peaceful, to be joyful. Already consumption of this has gone up 10,000% in the last 25 years. Yes or no? Hello, has it not gone up 100 times? Because other things that people promised elsewhere are all collapsing. People told you it doesn't matter, you're miserable, when you go to heaven everything will be wonderful. But slowly in your mind, the hope of heaven is collapsing. Maybe you still don't dare to utter it, but it's collapsing, isn't it? Yes or no? So you want to do everything here, but nobody taught you how to do it in such a way you can have the highest level of pleasure and still it'll enhance your life. This needs a little application. Unfortunately, we have not explored. If you do not raise human consciousness to a point where a whole lot of human beings know how to do things within themselves, if this does not come in the society, 90 to 95% of the population in 50 years or plus will be on chemicals. Now, this is not a moral issue for me. If 95% of the humanity goes on chemicals, the next generation that we produce will be a generation which is much less than ourselves. See, the purpose of next generation is somehow, at least one notch, they must be better than us. If we produce a generation which is worse than us, this is a crime against humanity. We have taken humanity backwards. And once you do that, afterwards we don't know what the next one will do. See, this is not some prediction by looking at astrological stuff, looking at the human mind. When all these machines come, when this chemical usage goes out of control, you should not be surprised in another 60 to 75 years' time, if a huge percentage of population is committing suicide. You should not be surprised at all, because a human being doesn't need just pleasure, he needs a purpose. But one thing that happens to you with chemical usage is, you lose a sense of purpose, your pleasure, but no purpose. So there are various kinds of pleasures. There are intellectual pleasures, there are physical pleasures, there are other dimension of pleasures, there are emotional pleasures, the pleasure of activity. Climbing a mountain can be a great pleasure, though there is a lot of pain in the body, yes or no? So if we do not explore other dimensions, everybody will fall back on chemicals. When this happens, you will see the suicide rate in the world will increase enormously. I must tell you this, I grew up in early 70s and whatever. At least 12, 13, if I count little faraway friends also, nearly 14 people. All my age, we were all like, on motorcycles and trekking and doing crazy things in the mountains, all kinds. But a whole lot of them, at least 60% of them at that time went on drugs and alcohol. A few of us stayed out of it, but rest went on it heavily. We were all together, but they were all half the day they were sozzled out. You have to find a time to wake them up. But we were together. At least 14 of them died before they reached 35. Either drugged out, or they killed themselves with excessive drinking, or they died on the motorcycles, riding crazy on intoxicated conditions. 14 of my friends died before they reached 35. That number is going to increase phenomenally if we go in this direction. This is a backward step in life. It is not a question of morality, it is a fundamental thing about life itself. So whether it's in agriculture, or purification of water, or daily consumption of prescription medication, this is rising like crazy, this is not good. And these kind of what do you call them, recreational drugs, if the chemical consumption increases, humanity will take a backward step. We should not let that happen. For this, the only and only solution is, we must create a conscious human being. Raising human consciousness is the most important thing. For this, the important thing is to move everybody from belief systems to responsibility, because we have managed humanity with carrot and stick. See, if you do all this thing, if you drink alcohol here, we'll put you in hell and torture you forever. So that man stayed away from drink, and we told you, don't worry, in heaven, rivers flow with wine. We have managed humanity like this for a long time. See, all of you are laughing, but the previous generations genuinely believed it, isn't it? Yes or no? So now heavens have collapsed in people's minds, they are trying to do their own little heaven here. You cannot stop them unless you provide a credible alternative. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sadhguru.
Sadhguru, just…
You also.
This will be the last question.
Sadhguru, on one occasion you mentioned that there is no purpose to life and that life in itself is a phenomenon beyond any purpose. Sadhguru, my question is, if there is no purpose to life and if the eventual destination of every life is death, then why do we need to live consciously? And plus, Sadhguru, you carry a magic of your own. I've been smiling for the last 4 hours. I've never done this before in my life.
You're a young man and you never smiled for 4 hours? What happened? Are you also in love with the same girl? Because the girl doesn't know, poor girl, all right? Now, see, suppose you sit here right now and you're ecstatic. Would you ask, what is the purpose of life? Would you? Your experience is so fantastic. Would you ask, what is the purpose of life? No. Because to be alive is a purpose by itself. Now life has become a little burdensome. You're carrying the vegetable bag and going home. What is the purpose of life? You're doing things that you don't like to do. What is the purpose of life, isn't it? Somehow it's become burdensome. When you're 5, 6 years of age, when you're just bubbling around, did you ask what is the purpose of life? You became like this, what is the purpose of life? So this need for purpose has come simply because most people have not tasted life, except in their childhood. When I say they have not tasted life, right now the only two things they're experiencing is their physiological structure and psychological structure. As we already went through this process, both your physiology and psychological structure have been gathered from outside, isn't it? So there is no taste of life. So now you're asking, what is the purpose of life? Because you lost the connect with life. In your mind, in your intellect, logically you ask this question, but the life within never asks the question, isn't it? Even an ant wants to live, try to hold it and see. Does it want to live? Does it do everything possible to live? Yes or no? Because life is a purpose unto itself. It's a phenomena beyond all silly purposes we can find in our life, in our intellect. Whatever silly purposes we find in our mind are absolutely silly compared to the tremendous phenomena that we call as life. But right now, you are just a bundle of thought, emotion, ideas, opinions, ideologies, belief systems and prejudices. No life. Life is not happening, only thought is happening, isn't it? Hello? Because of that, you are asking, what is the purpose of life? And you said that, and now you're saying, what is the point? Eventually I will die. So what do you want to do? You want to die today? No, it will come. If this question becomes very deep, then the next question is to be or not to be. Once the question comes, we just have to provide you with 2 meters of rope, that's all, and little encouragement. That girl has to disappoint you. See, today you lost all your money, let's say. And you say, what is the purpose of life? I want to die, no money, what to do? Check with your life. Close your mouth, hold your nose like this and see. The life within says, to hell with your money, man, I want to live. Yes or no? This girl, she left and went away, she finished her program, she doesn't know, she went home. My love, gone. What is the point of living? I want to die. Just hold. Just to hell with her, let's live. Yes or no? Whenever you think the purpose of life is lost, just hold your nose for 2 minutes. You will know this one wants to live. Yes or no? So, life does not need a purpose because it's a phenomena beyond all invented purposes that human beings make up. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sadhguru. Extend our heartfelt gratitude to everybody who has been present here. To Sadhguru, of course, I believe we have all learned a lot more than what we have learned in all these years of our existence. Thank you so much once again, Sadhguru. Thank you to the team. Thank you to NEHU and everybody who has come here. Thank you so much. I'm so sorry all your questions could not be addressed. We're running out of time. But do follow his videos. You will get most of your answers in them. And we hope, Sadhguru, you come to Shillong once again, once or twice or many more times, yet again and again.
If you stop calling me mainland, I will come here
Okay, sure.
every year.